The heroic story of a dictator who risks his life to never allow democracy into his much-loved, oppressed country. Hello, everyone. This is Recap Movie Hub. Today I'm going to tell you about the movie The Dictator. Admiral General Aladdin was born in the year 1973 and never knew his mother, who passed away at his birth. At a mature age, he organized his own Olympic Games, where he managed to win 14 gold medals. The dictator addresses his subjects and assures them that he will only use uranium for peaceful purposes. Aladdin and his uncle Tamir then arrive at a secret base to inspect their nuclear weapons. The scientists show the dictator a missile, but it does not reach the expected result at all. Aladdin demands a meeting with the head of the nuclear program, Mandel, but he is told that he had him executed 2 years ago for not making the tip of the missile sharpened as the dictator wanted.
Okay.
Afterwards, the new head of the nuclear program was also executed by Aladdin simply for questioning the dictator's exceptional memory. When he returns to the palace, the dictator is assassinated, but it turns out to be his double. Later, it transpires that the assassination attempt was planned by Aladdin's uncle, who has no intention of stopping there. In a desolate desert, a military man finds a goat herder and brings him to the dictator so that he will approve the boy as his double. The new double doesn't like Aladdin at first, but he agrees nonetheless, realizing that his job is to get shot in the forehead. Later that evening, Aladdin makes love to Megan Fox and takes a picture with her, hanging it on his personal collection wall. The next day, Uncle Tamir informs the dictator that the U.S. has demanded that he speak on the nuclear program or they will impose sanctions. Aladdin agrees to speak before the UN and travels to New York City. The dictator is checked into a suite converted to his preferences, and Uncle Tamir hires a security guard named Clayton for him. One night, while the dictator is sleeping, he is kidnapped. It is later revealed that it was Clayton who did it. He has been hired to kill Aladdin, but first, the mercenary wants to torture the dictator. Clayton uses the old torture methods, and for this, Aladdin taunts him, and the evil mercenary cuts off the dictator's beard. When Clayton sets Aladdin's beard on fire, he himself catches fire.
The flames of the righteous attack the unjust.
The dictator manages to escape the fire and escape. Aladdin arrives at the hotel where he is to perform, but is mistaken for a homeless man because of his lack of beard, and then the dictator notices a car with Tamir and a new double. The dictator shouts that there is an imposter and illegitimate ruler in the car, and this is picked up by the crowd of protesters. The Aladdin doppelganger prepares to address the UN, but instead of making a speech, he drinks his own urine and dumps it on the Israeli ambassador. At the end, he gives a speech written down on a piece of paper about the new constitution and democracy in the Republic. Aladdin does not like this at all and tries to get into the building, but his attempts are suppressed by a water cannon and his actions inspire the protesters. Aladdin is helped by a girl named Zoe, and they take off on a scooter.
Could you please take your hands off my breasts?
Those are breasts? I thought they were a boy.
The former dictator invents a new name, Allison Burgers, to hide his identity. Zoe offers him a job in her store, but Aladdin is unaccustomed to living this way, and he taunts the store workers, insults Zoe, and leaves. The dictator's double gets bonuses in the form of several gorgeous girls, but he does not know what to do, as he does not understand the new world at all. Wandering the streets of New York, Aladdin spots the former head of his nuclear program, Mandel, whom he executed 2 years ago. Following him, Aladdin finds himself in a restaurant filled with people he once executed, but they are all here and alive. The restaurant owner almost realizes that Aladdin himself is in front of him, but he is saved by Mandel, who passes off the dictator as his brother. They sit down at a table and make a deal. Mandel will help Aladdin return to power, and in return he will make him the head of the nuclear program. While conducting surveillance outside the hotel, where the new constitution will be signed in 3 days, Aladdin notices Zoe and hides. Finding out they know each other, Mandel says this is their chance to get into the hotel, since the girl's company will be catering the banquet and she has the right pass. The dictator came to Zoe and awkwardly apologized to her. Zoe accepted his apology and took the job. Mandel came up with a plan to look around the hotel. They booked a helicopter tour, but 2 other American tourists began to suspect them of terrorism.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They were arrested, but Zoe came and started yelling at the officer, accusing him of racial discrimination, and this helped to free Aladdin. At this point, the former dictator began to have feelings for Zoe that he had not previously understood. Aladdin and Zoe leave. On the way out, Zoe hugs Aladdin, and he feels profound emotions as he has never been hugged before. Later that evening, Aladdin comes to Zoe and offers to make him feel good as a gift for saving him from prison. The girl refuses and tells the dictator about self-satisfaction. In seclusion, Aladdin gets a whole new feeling for himself. He wants to express his gratitude to Zoe, but notices that she is crying as they lose the contract to cater the banquet, which is to be held on the day the new constitution is signed. The dictator takes over the banquet and uses his experience to establish order and harmony in the store. Nadal tells Aladdin that he found the perfect beard at the wig store, but the dictator wishes it had been the beard of a great man. Upon learning of the famous drug lord's death, they go to his funeral and steal his beard.
Wake up. Good morning, Nadal.
The next day, Zoe happily runs in and announces that the contract to cater the banquet belongs to them again, as their competitors have found the drug lord's head. Suddenly, their store goes into labor, and Aladdin helps a woman give birth. During this, something happens between Aladdin and Zoe. Later, on the roof, they are about to make love, at which point Aladdin admits to Zoe who he really is. At first, Zoe thinks he is joking, but when Aladdin puts on his stolen beard, she realizes it is true. Zoe gets upset and asks the dictator to leave her for good. Aladdin sees what is happening in his state and is about to kill himself by jumping off a bridge, but Nadal arrives and inspires him with his speech, causing him to change his mind. The day arrives for the signing of the new constitution, and the dictator and Nadal resort to a backup plan. Aladdin crosses to his double's room using a rope thrown from the roof of a nearby building.
All this time you were a brick. Why do you have that? What, to balance out the weight from the other one? You have 2 bricks!
Aladdin is about to shoot his doppelganger, but it is not needed, as the doppelganger decides to leave on his own. Tamir takes the dictator to the podium, unaware that the doppelganger is not in front of him. Aladdin is about to tear up the constitution, and Tamir realizes that it is not the doppelganger. With his beard off, Aladdin orders Tamir's arrest and tears up the constitution. The dictator then begins to talk about his allegiance to the dictatorship in his country, and as he is about to speak about how he feels about democracy, Zoe enters the hall and he begins to say nice things about democracy, comparing it to the looks and character of the girl. Everyone was glad, but Tamir lunges and shoots the dictator, but the bullet hits the forehead of his double, who survives. At the end of the movie, we are shown a fair election, based on which Aladdin won 98% of the votes. Also, the former dictator married Zoe. That's all for today. Subscribe and like it if you want more videos like this.